I created the BA Role Center because I saw a need for it back in May, sometime beginning of May, I think I started it, where I curate the BA roles I see and I share them out into the community. And it seems like there was a need for it because it's got over 7,000 followers on it now. I've gained some really great people, a great community that's being built through this. And my aim for BA Role Center is to, well, as the meeting says, to empower BAs to be able to get into their next role, start their own limited company, become freelance, do fractional work, something like that. I want to, because of the market, especially in the UK, I want to be able to help people or put them in the right contact of upskilling for various roles, whether that be in Agile, whether it be in privacy, whether it be in AI or something like that. But one of my people that I've come across who's come highly recommended is Wiselin here, who works out of the United States but delivers training, especially in Agile globally. He's got a team over in the UK. And then where else have you got it in? Is
Yes.
there some place in Europe as well, Wiselin? I can't quite remember. Just fill in the gaps.
Right, right. So our entity is in UK, but we do some pieces in Czech Republic,
Right.
but our legal entity is in UK. But other
Okay.
entities are in other countries like Canada, Australia, and India. But in Europe specifically, UK is our legal entity.
Okay. So based out of the UK, but like I say, he does a lot of global work, and I've had a meeting with Wiselin previously, and there's some of the things he showed me I was just really impressed by. So I wanted to share those details. And then there is also opportunities to grow into different areas. I did a poll on BA Role Center about what would people most likely to want to hear about. And the main two things were product owner and product manager. And then there was agile for product management, sorry. And that was one of the things that Wiselin offers. So I was going to just have a look at it, see if it looks all right for me. I had a look at it. I think it looks good. So I think it would be beneficial for others in the area. So that's why I put on the call initially for last week. But it has to be rescheduled. Shit happens, family, life, but here we are. We've made it, and there's a few of us on the call, so it's great to see. So, Wiselin, I'd just like to hand over to you, if you don't mind, just to show the guys what you have in terms of the product owner, product management stuff, and the agile product management part of it. If you could just go into details on what it covers and kind of what you get out of it. And guys, this is an open forum. I don't intend it to just me talking and talking. Some on the call will know that I can do that, but I want it to be open. So if you've got any questions, is there a hands up part on this or
Yes.
something? Can you put your hands up? Yeah, just put your hands up or put it in a chat and we'll get round to it. So, Wiselin, if you don't mind, I'll just hand over to you for a few
No,
minutes.
thank you. Thank you so much, Craig, for this opportunity to collaborate. And I think just one small more context from our company, we have three tracks, right? And I want to more talk about what does it mean for all of us here. One track is obviously the training track, which I'll give you all the context on some of the trainings. The second track of ours is consulting. So the main thing is we need to see real-time artifacts, assets, and pieces. The third track is tooling. So our mantra in our company is people, process, tools kept together by AI is the mantra. People, process, tools kept together by AI. So today I will showcase some of the pieces of all of the above that I mentioned, and specifically to the poll request that you all had, and what does that mean? So, Gladyn and Bruno, if you could kindly see the the background noise and appropriately mute and unmute, and if somebody has any questions, you can make me a co-host too. That way, I can also do the same. But if you can kindly, if somebody is asking a question or raising their hands, feel free to interrupt me. That way, I can navigate. Is that okay? Cool. So, in terms of Agile, let's start with Agile. There are multiple companies out there who are providing specialized frameworks. Can anybody say some of the top four? Anybody thinks when you think of agile certifications and frameworks, anybody in your mind, do you know any top of your mind coming to your mind? Okay.
Scrum.
Scrum Alliance.
Safe.
Scaled Agile is one. Safe is one. Correct. Right. So Scrum Alliance, Scaled Agile, PSM. These are like Scrum.org. These are like top 3 or 4 organizations which give Agile certifications, of which currently Scaled Agile has a market share. Okay, so let me show that to you and introduce you, and let me share my screen. So, so Gladden, you can put this Scaled Agile picture on the image for everybody. So this is a scaling framework, and currently in US at least, this has a very big market share of around at least 60%, and this is an open source framework. I'm also certified trainer in many. I tried Spotify, LESS, DAD, many frameworks for Agile. And actually, I may even have an Excel sheet which compares and contrasts all these frameworks. And Scaled Agile has approximately issued maybe 3 million certified certifications. Of that, the certification that I have is the top 100 so in the world. So I cannot spend my whole, can I specialized in this framework, right? So the advantage of some of these certifications from this framework is it not only covers the persona-based best practices, but also the framework. Meaning, let's say you're a business analyst, the closest certifications for you all, give me 1 second. I have like 11 screens. So I'm just dragging and dropping something here. Okay, cool. So the way that you all voted was for these certifications right here, product manager and product owner. And the business analyst are great candidates for either of these roles. Now, also, at least from my data points of, me working with various companies here globally, these roles, or at least these 2 roles, are getting merged and combined. And the experiment of somebody saying, I want this, and then somebody else going and saying, okay, I hear what you want, let me put it in a term what the engineering team understands, is getting merged slowly but steadily. Why should there be one person just saying, and the T-shaped skill is a must. So the first observation that I'm seeing is these 2 roles are working hand in glove. Some of the people also go here. The product manager is more a strategical piece. Think about it like this, right? A product manager can help guide multiple product owners, and each product owner will be in a team, for example, right? And this is much more a strategical position in the training per se, but the product owner is immediately at the team level. Before I go any further, I want to every time stop to see if you all have any questions. It can be anything, or you can always feel free to stop me, because if a conversation is there, and again, Craig, you also feel free to guide this conversation in ways.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah. Okay,
no problem.
Cool. Now, going on, right? Now, when you look at this picture here, I want to simplify this whole picture in a very simple slide, okay? That way you understand this framework in a very simple mechanism. So let me show that to you all. A very simple concept, that's it, right? Okay, this picture, if you understand, you will see the roles of product managers and product owners in a simple way, which is very closely related to the BA skill set. Okay, so in every organization, what is happening is there are these functional managers, right? Like there are these HR structures. These may be the functional managers, department of, or a department of this, division of this, department of UI engineers, lead test leads, but value does not flow across silos. So the definition in the Scaled Agile framework is very straightforward. You form teams which are cross-functional, permanent, long-lived, dedicated team members. They can report to whoever they want, but this is where the role of product owner is coming, and this is at the team level role. The concept of this train is very simple. It's a virtual concept. A team of agile teams is an art or a train. That's all. nothing more complex. I will leave it at this for now, right? So art is nothing but somebody who is organized around the flow of value, and the certifications that you all had asked for additional information to discuss is this product manager certification. So these roles at the art level or the train level guide the various teams underneath this art. Does it make sense? Pretty straightforward. Yeah. So let me go a little bit more deeper into this concept before I go into the people process tool angle. Now, going back to this, I'm just going to stick to essential. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into the framework, but want to give you enough context. So let's start with this guy, product manager. This is a strategical certification, and glad you may want to directly put the link for this certification here in the chat. So this is the APM certification, which is a 3-day course. Okay, this is a strategical course for 3 days. And this person is directly working with the clients or the business owner. And here, let me give you some context. When you say an art, it's approximately 125 people. So it's a large group of people. This is not a small team. This is a virtual team of teams. So it's approximately 125 people is what you're talking about. And the other key thing, let me go a little bit more deeper. Give me one more click. I want to say something. All right. So the other thing with this product manager job is they also interact with the top level, which is portfolio management. That's why it is a strategical position, and it is a 3-day course here. Okay, this is a 3-day course. And the product owner, who works very closely with the product manager, they may have some interactions with business owners too. It's a scaling model. So direct access to clients and business owners are always good. But this PO, every team of 10 folks have a product owner, for example, and this is a 2-day course. And glad if you want to put the title of the certification and then the link so people know what they're looking at, right? And I can stop for more context. But this is a 2-day course for product owners, right? So, so I see some questions, so we'll answer that. So now that is the certification angle. The only thing with certification is the buzzwords, right? And consistent terminology, best practices. And if a company is using Scaled Agile framework, then, for example, what is PI planning? PI planning is a ceremony where 10 teams come together and plan. Let me show you some data points. So what comes in those certifications is those terminologies. Let me show you a real world example of PI planning. So PI planning is a ceremony. Okay, let me show you real world, in person and remote, both I'll show you. I talked to you about a concept called art. Art is a virtual team of teams. This is about 125 people. This whole group of people are coming together and planning for a time box, which is almost a quarter. And the exercises will be like this. Do you see this? They're planning interdependencies between teams. And this guy presenting here is a product owner for a particular team. This guy can be a product manager. So the advantage of this certification, to Craig's question, what happens after this certification is, if you do not know these safe terminologies, if a particular company is indeed using a Scaled Agile framework, you would not know these terms and terminologies if you're not used to it. What is PI planning? What is IP iteration? What is inspected app? So the key takeaway from this certification is all these buzzwords and the toolkits and templates that you get out of these certifications. So to Sham's question, if a whole company is less than 125, is a scaling framework like Scaled Agile needed or not? Is a question, right? So let me answer that. So Scaled Agile is a framework which has all the best practices hyperlinked. Okay. For example, let me ask you these questions. Let's say the company is only a startup. Let's say only 50 people. Okay. We do transformations in such companies. So let me give you a context. So let me ask you some questions. Does that company require a portfolio management? Yes, I'm sure every company requires a portfolio management. Does that company need a vision, strategic themes? Do they require OKRs? Do they require KPIs? Do they require a system team, which is in many companies, anti-pattern, they call it a DevOps team? So the point is, this is a bunch of hyperlinks of all the best practices for various personas, but what you may not need is some of the scaling pieces. For example, if a art is a virtual team of teams and it is 125 people, you may not need some ceremonies which is designed for scaling, not needed. Yeah. So the safe framework is a scaling framework that is important, right? So let me ask that. I think there is a clarification to the question. Okay. Yes. Okay. So let me finish the thought process and I'll take questions one by one. So the scaling framework is there because it gives you a foundational pieces of best practices, and as the companies grow, they're already set up for success. And when the companies move, they can scale and adapt as needed, right? So smaller companies, bigger companies, when the company is very small, you do not need all the ceremonies. Let me explain what I mean. So this is a completely a hyperlinked, this is a really cool framework. You can just click away your icons. So I will show you most of the ceremonies in Scaled Agile. So if these are all the various ceremonies in Scaled Agile, if your whole company is only 50 people, you do not need this level and this level. You may most likely get away with some of these team level ceremonies and a few ceremonies to keep the whole teams together. So it's a scaling framework. So when your company is small, you do not need all the ceremonies. You can customize it. But when the companies grow, you're already set up for success. Does it make sense? So that's the way you have to position it. Go ahead, Shyam.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. Thanks for. I think the one question I had was around, so an Agile release train is one team of people who are releasing a particular set of features and capabilities. Is that correct? So if you've got for example, an initiative to build a large service platform with front end, back end, middleware capabilities, am I right in assuming that one Agile release train will be responsible for one part of that capability? So they may be responsible for, say, the middleware.
No.
No?
You're in the right thinking process, but we try to keep cross-functional Agile teams. The experiment, what you're saying is, I'll tell you, the experiment of having UI separately, front end separately, back end separately is a failure. So we built cross-functional Agile teams. The handoffs becomes very much higher. With all our experiments that we have done, we have to have a cross-functional slice. We do something called value stream identification, where that's why you may report to whoever you want. If you look at this diagram, see there is a UI team, database team. The experiment of doing it silo-based is a failure. So we form virtual teams which are services-oriented and are cross-functional. And that's where, the world is completely pivoting to, and yeah, to answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But again, this is a little bit bigger picture. Sorry if I'm jumping slides, but I'm just trying to give you a bigger context here, right? See, to finish the conversation on the scaling framework, the art is just a virtual team of teams, but a company can be very large, and this blueprint has to be drawn. Currently, I'm transforming AT&T, 3,500 people, ServiceNow in US, 35,000 people, US Air Force. So when you go larger and larger companies, how do you keep the whole company together? You need a scaling framework. So when you do a scaling framework at the team level, still there are POs and PMs and all these roles. So you need to understand the terminology plus your persona-based skill set. Does it make sense? The advantage of SAFe certification is teaches those persona-based skill set plus how to work in an organization with these terminologies. Value stream identification, as what is PI planning. For example, I'll tell you an artifact. Let's say everything is remote these days, right? So we do a hands-on workshop of the same PI planning, which I showed you in person. I can show you the virtually how it will look like, right? So if you're using a virtual platform, then everybody are distributed globally. Then we do a hands-on exercises on how a product owner will help a team in a bigger planning meeting by writing user stories. And see, this is a team level artifact. A team will be, and you can jump across multiple teams digitally, team A, B, C, D, within an art, and you can quickly see the interdependencies between teams and all that. So this certifications or hands-on exercises of not only understanding the roles, how they fit in the bigger picture, both. I'll pause here.
Can I ask a clarifying question, Wiselin?
Yes,
Is that
yes,
included in your course that you do then, these really
yes,
practical examples of what is good? Right, okay, thank you.
yes. So
There's
we
a
do
couple of
hands-on.
questions in the
Yeah.
chat, Wiselin, when you get a sec, mate.
Absolutely. So I'll
Okay.
just show, I want to show how the class experience would be to Craig's
Okay.
question.
Yeah,
So
okay.
when you sign up for these certifications, we give you access to a portal. In that portal, you are set up for everything, the videos, the templates, and the class exercises will be designed like this. Okay, let me show you. So here is the course classes, and everybody will be playing in and doing it hands-on. For example, the same thing that I showed you of a collaboration ceremony, like PI planning, you will click on it and do the hands-on exercises exactly like this, right? And all these exercises of interdependencies, how will you write stories, take a feature, split it into stories, and all that will be hands-on exercises, and people will be jumping into the different breakout rooms, doing those exercises and come back. And this is how the course exercises would be structured. Okay, I'll take some chat questions per se. Let's go. Let's see. Let's look at, okay, Sham's question, I think I answered. Snehal, how is safe training different to, yeah, both are, see, under Scaled Agile, this whole thing is Scaled Agile certifications, right? All of these are Scaled Agile certifications. The two certifications we are specifically discussing right now for our persona skill set are the Agile Product Manager, which is a 3-day certification for strategical product managers, and a 2-day certification for product owners. This is team-based. This is a little bit more strategical. Is that clarify your question, Snehal?
Yeah, so my question was more around, so I've already got SAFe 5 certification, right? So I understand what release trains are and how PI planning works and all of it. My key key question was, if I know all of that, I mean, I'm not an expert at anything, but if I've already been through that training, what is the delta I'd get in terms of going on to a product owner or a product manager
Oh, got it.
specific
Got it. What
role?
certification specifically you have in
I've got a
SAFe?
SAFe 5.
You mean the SAFe Agilist? Is this what you have?
Yes.
Okay, so this certification is an introductory certification on the basics. The first day is all like mindset principles. The second day you teach a little bit of PI planning, and that's how it's a basic certification. These two certifications are double clicked on that persona. For you all, I think this group is about product management and pieces. So this is like all the skills double clicking on the persona based skill set. But would it cover some of the pieces of the working in the overall framework? The answer is yes. This is a very generalized certification, but this is a specialized certification on the overall framework plus the persona
Right.
based.
Okay. Awesome.
Snehal, were you here when I introduced the call as well, or did you join a little bit late? Can I
I
ask?
joined a little bit late.
Right,
Craig.
okay, but
That's probably
you
why.
missed. No, you missed the bit at the start where I said this was what was voted on in the BA Role Centre as the top 2 things that wanting to discuss. Wiselin, his company provide all of the different parts of it, but this specifically is for people who kind of want to transfer from a BA to a product owner or product manager to upskill to kind of transferable skills as well. So that's the bit you might have missed. So it might not be something that you want to go ahead with straight away, but there are loads of other things that Wiselin can offer in terms of his training, etc. But yeah, these were the top 2. So yeah, you missed a bit of context there, mate.
Yeah. So thanks for that as well, Craig.
No worries.
Makes sense now. Thank you.
Okay.
Very good. So now Saj is asking a very important question. So let me talk about that. Okay. So it's people process tools kept together by AI. Now these two are people process based things. So if you look at our company's learning path, so glad kindly keep these things handy. So if you look at the learning path, we have specifically organized our learning path in a specific way. So currently we are talking about the Scaled Agile certifications, right, which is the product owner, product manager. But soon you will realize that, okay, once you understand all the best practices of that persona, in your in every company, they're using some platform. It can be Jira, it can be Jira Align, it can be ServiceNow, it can be ADO. as product owners or BAs, you're operating in that framework. So if you are going to set up the Scaled Agile framework in those tools, there are different certifications where we buy hands-on tools, templates, licenses, and all that, and teach you how to set up those frameworks. As I said, right, if you're not completely T-shaped, and I keep saying this word T-shaped, right? Let me show you what I mean by this. Okay, this is a diagram what I drew for myself. So the Scaled Agile, yeah, all great. No longer anybody can say that, yeah, we need the depth of knowledge, no doubt. But if somebody is saying that I'm only a process savvy person or something, those things are dying out soon. You need to be domain knowledgeable. I'm going to show you some AI pieces as well if time permits. But the point is, my advice is, along with the POPM certification, slowly but steadily in your knowledge base, develop that tooling knowledge, and the T-shaped knowledge is a must. The depth and width is a must. And for every company, I draw a different diagram, but it's very important. That's where Saj's question is very valid, because you need to go and at some point see this hands-on tooling, and then AI thing keeps everything together. I'll show you all the, so these three things combined together is where you maximize your value proportion for our profession. People, process, tools kept together by AI. So these three things are very critical. These are designed for functional managers, people managers, other pieces, but I recommend these, unless these three things work together, it will not be, it's kind of critical to stand out. I'll pause here. Saj.
Right, and that's great. Thanks for running through that. Yeah, that I was just trying to bring it into the real world, because you can see the theoretical side and the training side. But yeah, I was just trying to bring it into the real world. So thank you for answering that. I think another aspect I'm thinking is, again, going back to the real world again. How do you go into an organization where they may have that example you gave of 125 headcount, but how do you break that into chunks? How do you introduce it to a business where they're saying, yeah, we do want to adapt this, especially when you have an organization where the developers are doing their own thing. They're great. They're running things. They already have sprints being run. Then you have the business side. They're doing things in their own way. It may be a mixture of waterfall and agile. Then how do you bring how does this allow to be brought together? Is it a factory model? Is it a standard factory model to allow to work from left to right, to allow that iteration, moving to be able to say, yeah, here we are.
Yeah, you're right, Saj. So that's how everybody is there, right? So when somebody is hiring us for a transformation, the way to introduce this framework is this implementation roadmap, the snake diagram, and you have access to all these artifacts. You can click on it. So if you click on it, here is the structured way. There is a 4-day course which we normally teach. I just taught a course over the last 4 days, which teaches you about how to implement this framework, and we take step by step through the process. And you don't have to boil the ocean in a company right away in day one. And if, let's say, a company is doing pockets of agile, a little bit of waterfall, a little bit of agile, they may be doing other frameworks too. How do you meet people where they are and slowly but steadily take them to this journey? It's a structured process with all the tools, templates, and kits already available. And that certification, which teaches how to roll out this framework in a company, is a 4-day certification. This is the most expensive of the lot. But the advantage of finishing this certification is you guys are certified to teach, as opposed to taking a certification. You are certified to teach all these certifications. Only 2 certifications you cannot teach after that is these 2. But many people go for that certification because they want the bigger picture, and you can start teaching. But sometimes the best way to learn something is by teaching it. So, yeah.
And I think this is another thing, Saj, that I want to enable people like us, maybe business analysts, product owners, product managers, to actually not rely on the contractor market. Where are you, Saj, if you don't mind me asking? Whereabouts in the country?
I'm actually in Yorkshire.
You're in
know
Yorkshire,
that,
or you're across from me, mate. I'm in Preston. But yeah, this is what I want. I want people to be able to grow their own businesses, their own limited companies, being freelancers, so you don't have to rely on contracts, on recruiters coming back to you. You can say, well, I've got these skills. I can teach your business how to be Agile, and we can implement these different areas. So yeah, this is another thing. This was like a higher level conversation I want to get to, but I'm glad we've got there. But yeah, that's something else that even I would consider. I'm considering doing one of the implementing safe or the train engineer thing. I'll probably go for implementing safe. But yeah, I think you're right to develop these skills and kind of forge your own path rather than like contracts. That's my main aim for you guys.
That makes perfect sense. Thanks. Just to check with Wiselin, is there again like a pathway? And would you say to get one of the initial product owner, product manager certifications initially, and then to go into the implementation? Is that the best way and pathway to follow? Or
that's a good question. At this point, it is advised to have something basic, and because this, imagine 4 days of a high-powered course, right? In my style of teaching, we don't do slides, so it's like people, process, tools, hands-on assets. And basically after the class, it's a fact that everybody loses at least 3 pounds. It's a stressful course.
No,
so to answer your question,
not as in
Raj,
money, guys, because obviously that's our currency. He means in weight.
oh yeah, oh that's true, right? Yeah, yeah. I mean
These
so
Americans.
yeah. So the point is, yeah, it's to answer your question, can you directly take it? It is advised to do either work at least for like 6 months or do some basic certification before that. But many people come directly here. Like yesterday, I taught a course for 11 people, of which 3 were brand new. So anyway, we teach those basics. The first 2 days of this class is word by word this certification, which Snehal had. So the point is, you may ask me, Wiselin, why do they ask us to do twice then? Because there's a reason for it. Again, but the point, what I'm trying to say is it's very, it's up to you to take that stress level. And sometimes people bite the bullet and directly maximize your dollar value. But is it a little bit more riskier to do that because you'll be thrown into the fire and you have 30 days to finish. You'll be given a full-length practice test and everything. But we have a very high pass rate. I did this directly. And I'm a stress junkie, so it is, so it's every based on everybody's personality, I would say.
sorry, I'm asking so many questions. Apologies, everybody. Just one more then.
Yeah,
the way I tend to learn is, even though there's classroom based, from what you're saying, crash courses over 2 or 3 days, I like to prep with having any resources, anything I can actually plan for at least 2 or 3 weeks before. So
Yes.
even if there's something like this for 2 or 3 days, at least give
Yes.
myself 4 weeks ahead.
Yes.
Is there any such resources to plan ahead to get yourself prepared and ready?
Exactly. So what happens is, let me show you. So let me show you. Yesterday I taught a class, right? I'll show you how the experience will be. You will be getting a meeting invite from my team. And once you register, we have our team here. So yesterday I taught this course SPC, right? So they will be giving you this meeting link, okay? When you see this calendar, you can click on this. You will be given access to the Scaled Agile portal, okay? And this applies to all certifications. So here there is things like before the class, during the class, and after the class, and you can listen to all the videos and prep work and everything that you want to do before even you come to the class. Does it make sense? So you can do that. But my recommendation is just sleep very well rested and come, and that's good enough. But every personality is different and people would like to read through and get some in-way and come in. But yes, to answer your question, this is not a training. This is a platform. This certification also gives you access to multiple tools to do your job, plus the templates. All the templates that you require to do your job is free. Plus this SPC certification also gives access to all workbooks once you pass the exam. So if this portal is completely free for you and you'll be set up for after you register, that way you can play around with it and then come well prepared. But if I were you, coming well rested is good enough. That itself is very key. But having said that, yeah, can you go and read all these online learnings and things before this class? You'll have the book already ready to download and all that. Why not? Everybody is different.
Are you good with that, Saj?
That's super, yeah. Thanks, Wiselin. I'll make sure I get the 2 hours sleep that I normally get. So.
But because you asked the AI question, I have something to show for you. But this is a different context. But
Wiselin, can I just ask us to go back a second? We've got a question that remains unanswered from Nitin. He stated, I can't get up to it now.
No, got it. If PO and BA or
yes, thank
so
you.
similar, even with the certification, is that enough to move into a PO role. Got it. So what is happening, right, guys? So this is my perspective on it, right? Now, in the traditional world, right, I started my journey in the 1990s. That's all. That's when I started my journey. So there were these characteristics of something. Let me tell you what it is. Okay. Now, have you guys ever read the? Have you guys ever researched into the traditional waterfall, the original white paper of the word waterfall? Let me show it to you. So I was a business analyst too when I started, and that's why I really bonded very well with Craig when he initially started this piece, right? So this was the original. This is the original white paper of the word waterfall, right? By Dr. Winston Royce. So earlier in the path, there were these guys like business-facing guys who used to do this piece here, and then I'm not saying that this is limited to what I'm saying, but this is how it originated because I used to do this. Things have evolved for the last 20 years, right? But there used to be somebody who is doing these two by taking these requirements and breaking it down into terminologies with the developers and testers and everybody understands. So this role was kind of very heavily sought of as somebody with unique skills who can bridge the gap between business and technology. That's how this all started. But the world is pivoting from this very aggressively. I'll tell you why. Now, I know you all agree that waterfall mechanism is can I consider taboo, but this guy is a very smart guy who wrote this white paper. See, when you look at this first line below what he says, I believe in this concept, but the implementation above is risky and invites failure. He wrote it way back in 1970s. It's we who wrote it. You took the picture and ran with it. We are the people who were mistakenly taken it. He also says the problem is in figure 4. All we had to do is go back to figure 4. Now, when you look at this picture, it's no longer enough that a BA the PO, a BA is very well set for going in. What is not possible is a traditional PO taking a BA's role is very difficult. But a BA going into the PO's role is very easy because the PO just is used to saying, I want this. And they are creative people, don't take me wrong. POs are very creative people, and that product creation itself. I am a product manager in my company. We're building AI products. We have automated everything in Agile. Story points, splitting a feature to stories. Everything is automated. I can show you if time permits. But the point is, because of this loop here, I don't think you can anymore separate the PO and BAs. The BAs are much more easier to go to a PO role. The vice versa is difficult. A little bit relatively. Nothing is difficult, but I'm just saying relatively. Anything I say is just an experiment. Does that answer the question, Nitin? That's my perspective, at least. Okay.
Yeah, he said got it. Thanks. Okay.
So I think we have some time. Craig, do you think some context into this AI and tooling would be helpful to
Well,
suffice?
let's ask the audience. Do you want to see some of the AI stuff that Wiselin has shown me? I think it's very good. Do you want us to
Yes,
go into that?
please. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, Wiselin.
So before I go to AI, this definitely stemmed from Saj's question on the tooling and implementing piece. So this is Jira. I mean, Jira line doesn't matter. Pepsi, Coca-Cola, for me, everything tastes the same. Maybe not. Coca-Cola is better. But so you have to implement the tool in a specific way. So we have a separate 2-day course on it. That's okay. But initially, we have been doing this for quite some time. So what we started doing was we put a plugin in Jira, which it will automatically write the acceptance criteria. It will automatically write the test cases, test strategies, everything in one click by just reading this stuff. It will automatically predict who is the best developer, the story points, efforts, everything automatically. For example, Atlassian itself has introduced some pieces. Let me show you. If you want to take a big chunk of work and split it into smaller chunk, it's already there, right? So if you go here, you can just, let me take an example. Let's say there is this big chunk of work like an epic in Jira. You can just go and say, hey, suggest my stories. It will automatically go and split that big chunk of work into smaller work products. And you can review it. And if you like it, you can save it. The problem with this approach was then why are humans even needed? If everything is done in the tool, let's just go bye-bye, right? And that's not the case. And the bigger problem is it started hallucinating. Hallucination was a big deal, and it started talking like Snoop Dogg. So what we did was we brought the data from Jira into a Jira ADO, doesn't matter what it is. We brought it to a collaboration platform like Miro, it can be anything. Okay. So I'll show you a live demo. Let's say there is an epic here, right, which came from Jira, like a big chunk of work. It uses generative AI within the firewall of the company. No data is going outside the company. So it's very secure. So I can just say, hey, can you go here and split this epic into features? And you will see that it is taking that big chunk of work and it will split into smaller chunks. The advantage with this mechanism is that humans can collaborate on this now. Everybody can jump in to correct the data. And then in one click, you can write it back to Jira. Okay, you will see that it is writing. But then in one click, you can write it back to Jira, ADO, whatever you want. The same thing is everything is automated. It will do it shortly, but you see that it is writing the features shortly. And that too, the syntaxes will be written for BDD in Gherkin syntax and all that. Same thing with prioritization. Same thing with backlog splitting it into stories, iteration planning, story point estimation. Everything is automated. Now, how do we know that this is not hallucinating, right? So you can click on the model performance. And when you click on the model performance, it will show what is the accuracy. If humans are changing it, then it will show, it will keep learning. If it's bad, it's okay. It will learn. When a kid is born, it has a few data points in its brain. But when the kid grows, it keeps getting, as long as you teach the kid correctly, it will keep learning, and it will get very close to each other. That's way. So the world is pivoting into a lot of AI, and Gen AI has become a big part. Gen AI and traditional machine learning and everything has become a big part. So it's very important for the product owners to embrace these latest things of Copilot. Otherwise, I would not say that a person will lose a job to AI, but definitely the person will lose a job to somebody who does not know AI. Is that okay? So everything is automated. So every day our team automates something, timeline, prioritization, capacity, demand management, and everything. But because this is specifically with product owner, anything with backlog refinement, automated, splitting automated. In Jira, there will be duplicate stories, orphan stories, dependencies identification. Everything is automated, predict dependencies, predict risks. So it is important to embrace this. So it's people, process, tools kept together by AI should be our vision. And normally for our age group here, I believe we have around 10 years of shelf life. 10 years. So work hard, play hard, because after that, body will slowly give up. Mind will be willing, education. And I think most likely I will teach till I die. But I think you snooze, you lose in this game is what I think. Okay, that's all. I'll take some more questions, but I thought I'll give you a quick snapshot of this. So Mark has a good things. Absolutely.
I've asked
It's
a
a lot
question
of
as
things.
well. I've just okay.
Yep, that's a good comment. Yep, it's a lot of good content out there. And if your company has anything with Gen AI specific thing available, it's all important. With just basic prompt engineering, you guys can start doing a lot of cool stuff, right? I can show you a few prompt engineering. I'm sure you all have done this by now, but because it's POPM related, I can show you with just generic chat GPT. And Craig, I will let you as a moderator stop me anytime for other things.
Yeah, no, it's fine. My question is related. You offer a course on Agile AI for product. What did I say? What was it called again?
Agile for AI leaders. So tomorrow we are having
Yes,
the class actually. So in the learning path, there is something called AI ML. When you click on this, tomorrow there is a class, 2-day class, which we buy license. If you click on this, glad you may want to put this AI for Agile directly. But again, if you're interested in anything, Gladden will put our team's email. Don't sign up directly because you're coming through Craig's reference or any of these things. If you indeed decide to take, I will make sure that you get the necessary discounts and pieces through Craig for his organization here. But again, all these algorithms, we give buy licenses to OpenAI keys, Jira licenses, and we teach you hands-on to be dangerously knowledgeable. Would you master everything in 2 days? Maybe not. But does it give you hands-on experience on everything to get to be dangerously knowledgeable? Absolutely, yes. And that way, our journey will double-click, triple-click, and move on. If I have a chunk of your time after this class, I will take it. So, for example, my day starts at 4 a.m. and then goes on until 7, and then family time and everything is there. It's all about prioritization of our time boxes, I think, moving forward, because of 10 years shelf life. It is what it is.
Guys,
Right.
as well, Wiselin is based on the west coast of the United States as well. So his 4 a.m. is our, what is it? 1 or 2, maybe? Something like that. I can't quite, something like that.
Most 12 hours, isn't it? 4 in the evening, more or less like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's 12. I think it's like 8.
East Coast is about 5 to 6 hours. So
yeah, something like this. Let me show it to you. If I just put this right here. So here is currently we are at 6 p.m. So my 4 a.m. is 12 noon for you all.
Yeah. Yeah. So I get some messages from Wiselin at crazy times. I'm in my beauty sleep, but Wiselin's still awake.
And Craig is such a loving guy. I overslept for my first meeting and he was very gracious.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just a great guy all around.
Just on that AI course, right? So just by looking at it, it looked like it's a very technical sort of a course. So do non-tech people, especially business analysts who understand tech, but who are not necessarily deep into tech, would that be suitable for them?
It is designed for Agile leaders, meaning we will give you the code and everything. We'll give you the back-end stuff. We will teach you the OpenAI key. At the end of the day, let me put it this way. These days, I talk to AI more than my wife. That's what you will do.
Yeah. So no coding experience is required as such then.
Yeah, you're in good hands. But again, once you have these licenses and stuff, the idea is to pivot crazily, right? And you be advocates of this journey to stand out and start. For example, right, even if you use ChatGPT, right, without anything at all, nothing with this, your company will all have some internal ChatGPT. You may not use it. Every company has some version of ChatGPT going on within the company, within the firewalls. So, for example, let's say, can you help with Epic as per Scaled Agile on, let's say we want to say mentor-mentee initiative. Okay, let's say. Okay. So, and then it will give you that. I know you all have tried this many times, but everything is just a prompt these days, right? And then when you're trained on the local content, that's what we are teaching in the class. And it comes with all the acceptance criteria, okay, and everything, right? Time long, and you can fix these things, right? Now you can say, can you kindly, you have to be gentle, right? You have to be gentle to it. Can you kindly split it to user stories? Okay, and then it will split it. But again, the only difference is we have to be a little bit more careful. But then if you see the acceptance criteria, it's not in Gherkin syntax, right? So you can ask it to say, hey, can you write it in acceptance criteria in Gherkin syntax? And it will do that. Can you export this whole thing into Excel? It will do that, right? Can you give me a Python code to implement it in Java? It will give that. And everything you do that. So it is important to only do strategical work. In strategy, less is more. Right? Okay. Now you can say, can you help with Python code for a simple UI to implement this initiative? Okay, it may spirit me. That's okay. But the point is, everything is a kick, and it gives it. and then you can write the test cases, you can do everything. You don't need to know coding, you don't need anything. And if I can do this, anybody can. But the idea is to expose the craziness of what's going on, because the cost of not embracing this is very high.
I think there's going to be a time in the near future where being able to prompt correctly is going to put you at an advantage over those who can't prompt correctly. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think that having this kind of knowledge of being able to ask the right questions, a bit like what a business analyst does, being able to ask the right questions, but also be able to prompt the right query in some sort of AI is going to be how we distinguish ourselves as business analysts, senior business analysts, product owners, product managers, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Any other questions, guys?
I think it was a super useful session, Wiselin. Thank you so much for that. And Craig for organizing it as well. Definitely lots of food for thought, something that I'll definitely take away and think about what my next step should be.
No problem, Snehal. I'm glad you may want to put our email. And whenever you address an email, definitely mention Craig's name in it. That way we know to help you all out with it. Definitely mention the webinar and the Craig's name. That way we all know the source.
Yeah, cool. We've got 8 minutes left, guys. Is there anything else anyone wants to ask of Wiselin?
Oh yeah.
Anything from me?
I'll also put my LinkedIn, and please connect with me. And then I think I'm in the group, so that's cool too. Like I'm in the Business Analyst group as well with Craig. So if you have any questions,
yeah, you're in the BA role center, but I don't know whether other people can see who's in it. I know I can as the admin, but I don't know whether other people can see others. But yeah, do link with Wiselin. He does. He is contactable, obviously, as you can tell. He's very open and honest in his communication. But yeah, guys, any last questions or any last thoughts or anything like that you want to share? This hour has gone really fast for me.
Yeah, so I've just stepped up to be a BA manager. At the time, we're implementing SAFe across the organisation. At the moment, hasn't been like IT-wide training on like the SAFe, which obviously I'm pushing for at the moment because I want my guys to be protected and at least know what they're being asked to do, set the right expectations. But what are the pitfalls with SAFe that I should like watch out for? Where can it struggle to be implemented well?
Absolutely.
Good question.
Absolutely.
Good question.
Absolutely, Mark. And definitely we can always meet again in a call again, because I have it's a deep question. I have a transformational backlog for you ready to go. Because at this point, so exactly right, I'm an SPCT. As you may know, there are only 100 SPCTs in Scaled Agile. And I'm also speaking in the DC Summit coming up, the SAFe Summit coming up on AI as well. Directly work with the framework people to contribute on a bunch of articles. So why I'm giving that information is you're in good hands. I already have a bunch of what not to do's. If you are going to implement it, I have an existing transformational backlog, which you can cookie cut and use it right away. And I'm happy to help you with context. And everything that you think of, we've done it in time and time again in large companies, US Air Force, AT&T, 4,000 people, ServiceNow, large companies, Rockwell Automation, time and again, that the problems universally gets the same. There cannot be a unique scenario anymore, because at some point of normalization bell curve, every problem becomes the same. There may be some unique local context based, because at least I can give you the information. That way you can build on top of it. So I can point you to the right assets and everything. Particularly if you have any Scaled Agile certification, all the toolkits that I'll show it to you. This will be very helpful for you. Anything that you require to roll this framework out, if the problem with this is, if you don't roll it out from a people process tool angle, Mark, this framework will look like a bunch of meetings if you don't do it correctly, and people hate it, and people will hate it. But actually, it is very light. The SAFe is only 7 things. I'll show that to you. Before I show you this, I want to tell you something very important, okay? Don't let anybody in the world tell you otherwise. Scaled Agile is nothing but the 7 simple things. I'll show you. This is it. But the problem is, if these 7 things are not done correctly in a people process tool, everything will fail. Okay. And you can contact me. You can even book an appointment in LinkedIn directly. I know many of you all reached out, so very happy. But, just book an appointment here, and that is integrated to my calendar. And if something is off, I can reschedule with you all. But the point is, once you get access to this portal, there is something called toolkits here. Okay, if you go to this toolkits, everything that you require to implement SAFe is already built for you. All the templates are already there. So all you need to know is not start from scratch and use these templates and build on top of it. So some certifications enable you for it, so that because you're licensed owners, if not, I'm always there for you all to get you jump started. My advice is, please roll it out correctly. Otherwise, it will actually hurt than help. So you have to be careful.
Thank you.
Those toolkits are very useful to set you up for success.
But Mark, like Wiselin has said, he's very approachable. You can book his time if you want to go through this kind of stuff. But yeah, he's very approachable. So guys, if you do have any more questions, I probably won't be able to answer it because I'm just as curious as you. Wiselin's the man, right? Wiselin's the man.
Yes. And I know we're top of the time. So before we end, right, I want to very humbly thank Craig. Craig has been very instrumental in the last 3-4 weeks, and very few people want to really spread the knowledge and take the lead and keep doing this for what cause? Just to spread information and awareness. And I'm a teacher. I come from 3 generations of teaching in my family. My dad, mom, professor, sisters, grandfather, grandmother. So coming from a string of teachers, what Craig is trying to do or something has been unique for me, and very humbly like to thank me and my team would like to thank him for this opportunity. And anything that I can do to help you all, I will be a part of it. And I would like to end by saying, God bless you all for the opportunity. Thank you so much, Craig.
Thank you. Thank you.